What is up, you guys? The Fallout with here, and today I'm doing the What If Deku had Cybernetics Part 2. Part 1, actually. Now, where we last left off, Deku was training his body, and not only that, if you guys already know, Deku does, well, he suffers a lot. Inko and Hisashi, for the time being, are just like, we have to, prioritize Deku first. And Hisashi is like, well, we have to take care of him and all that stuff. But they are working, and they're getting funded. Like, Deku's hospital bills were already paid for. And Deku does have, what's the word? Oh, yeah. He has not auto mail, but he has, prosthetics. He has, an arm that can move around, like I said. And not only that, he has, let's see right here. Sorry about that. He has this. That is his legs. Or, no, that's his legs right now, for the time being. He has nothing else but that. So, he's kind of called the Freak. Even though people, understand that Deku had, a bad childhood, or his childhood messed him up, people still see it, and it's like, oh, wow, that is terrifying. So, in the end, Deku doesn't actually have that much friends. Bakugo was considered to be a friend in Deku's eyes, because he's still annoying at times, in Bakugo's eyes, but he is the one person he can sympathize. He doesn't sympathize, he empathizes. He empathizes for Izuku, and he understands that he's not going to mess with him because, yeah, life is already kicking him down. There's no need to finish him off. So, Deku does, well, he doesn't do that much. When he goes for exercises, people try to mess with him. When he's doing gym class, they mess with him, and Deku is like, I don't want to have any trouble, and they're just pushing him around. But Bakugo is right there, and he just stops the people from hurting him. So they have that kind of relationship. Now, in 7th grade, when Deku was 12, I believe, or is it 12? I think it's 12. I have a confusion with numbers and school timelines, but he is taking care of his prosthetics, because they don't know how to. They gave him robotic arms, but he is not well equipped to it. So they're just giving him his regular arms to use. So, no, did I say that right? Oh boy, hold on here. So they give him regular prosthetics that are easy to move around with, and functions as if it was a normal arm, but it can't lift up heavy stuff, or it can't be damaged, otherwise it's hard to fix. But all that stuff. So Deku, he goes and he travels with his mom and dad, and they kind of got into a little accident where the car got hit, and Deku immediately told his freaking friend, which was Zero, by the way. And if you guys don't know who Zero is, it's basically Deku's cybernetic. It's the thing that talks to Deku, and it has a mind of her own at times. So yeah, because she's alienized technology, and when I mean alien, I mean not from this planet. Just to let you guys know. So it's talking to Deku and saying, alright, you got hit by a car, so we're going to fix that. And Deku says, we're gonna reverse time or something like that? He says, no, unfortunately, we do not have that ability yet. Yet? What do you mean? Well, what's all this right here? She says, well, you would need a big machine in order to travel, through time and space. We are not equipped with that. And, oh gosh. Hold on here. Alright, so anyway. Deku is like, okay, so what do we do? And she says, analyzing. Remove the seatbelts from your parents and pull them away. After that, check for breathing and check for signs of vital life. Or check for signs of vital life. So Deku just does what he can barely do, and Deku's using a little pocket knife from Hisashi's from the glove compartment. So he's ripping the belt because he can't open the belt for some reason because it's jammed. Yeah, that's kind of a mess up on whoever makes the cars. But either way, so he's basically tearing up the thing, and he's basically he's tearing off the belts, pulling them to safety, and it takes a lot of effort because only 2 cars got hit. The driver got passed out. And Deku said, alright, so right now, as far as I know, they're just sleeping. And she says, not sleeping, they are unconscious. And he says, what's the difference? A sleepy person, a person that sleeps, is when they choose to sleep. An unconscious person is that most times than not, or 99%, when they are not asleep, but they got into an accident and hurt their head. She's trying to explain to him, but it's she's a very smart person, or very smart, robot. So it's kind of hard to just, dumb it down for somebody who is, in 7th grade. Not only that, I'm bad at, explaining things myself. So either way, anyway, he looks around and he sees that the guy is basically he's going towards the ground, because there's a, how do I say it? He's seeing that the car is about to fall from the bridge, and Deku is trying to grab the guy, but in the very end he falls. So then, a hero, on that was there on standby, basically he helps the person, and Deku was, he was happy, but he was sad because if he had his body back, he could do it with no problem. So yeah, Deku's still he's still sad about the fact that he doesn't have his legs and his other arm. But in the very end, since he was alive, that was the best. Oh yeah, they did, had a couple of days off to do all that stuff. But, it's just kind of filler right now. So we're going to get to the story, in probably 3 minutes while I explain other things. Such as, Deku hasn't heard from Melissa or, Mei Hatsune, because these two are doing something especially for Deku. Why not? So, Deku is, how do I say it? He's been just, doing his, daily routines and exercises. Not only that, he's heard about, he's heard about the Shield family doing, stuff like this all the time. And Deku is wondering if she's ever going to come back. And this is when Zero says, it's alright. You have me. And not only that, you can be rest assured. They will be back soon. And Deku says, what do you mean? And she says, my malfunction, malfunction, malfunction. And Deku's like, wait, how are you malfunctioning? This is a part of me. I'm going to die. And this is when she says, oh, I am just joking around. Ha ha ha. And this is when Deku was like, oh, you almost gave me a heart attack. Anyway, what was I thinking about right now? This is when Zero says, probably cooking. And this is when Deku says, now that you mention it, I am kind of hungry. This is when Zero's trying to keep the secret because, well, she's trying to not tell Deku and as well not try to, get into trouble because, she's, oh, sheesh, hold on here. She's like, being calm and collective. But anyway, we're going to head off to now when Deku is in 8th grade. When that happens, Deku is like being pushed around in a wheelchair. Because, well, Deku does like being pushed around by somebody. Like, walking at times is good, but he doesn't have like the total balance yet. Because his legs are basically usually springy. You know what I mean? Like the ones that I showed you, the ones that basically look like little they look kind of cool though, I have to admit. But the prosthetics he has, yeah, it's not as easy to walk around with those. And even wearing a stilt hurts his leg. And because he just wants to be pushed around as well, it actually gives him a sense of peace. Saying that he can probably get used to it. Sure, he wants to be a hero, but, it's not that bad. But this is when it all changes during, well, the end of the school year. When Deku writes down those words, I want to be a hero. And he's actually applying for, hero work. And when people heard that, they started laughing. And this is when Bakugo says, so you want to be a hero? And this is when people start to quiet down, like, oh boy, Bakugo's going to say something mean to him. Well, we might as well get some tissues because there's going to be some flood works right here. And this is when Deku says, I'm going to be a hero. I'm not going to try to be a hero. This is when Bakugo says, well, if you're going to be a hero, I'm not going to be pushing you around your wheelchair anymore. And this is when Deku says, I understand. And this is when people are like, wait a minute, why are you, taking his side? He shouldn't be a hero. Look at him, he's disabled. This is when Bakugo says, yeah, I understand he's not looking like a hero yet, but give it time, he might actually impress people. I mean, he did help out before. And sure, he may have lost his arm and leg, but he could probably, I forgot what I was going to say, but he does say along the lines of, I believe in him, and even though I know he should give up, just let him have his dream, and if he fails, he fails, and if he doesn't, well, he's a hero now, so he's going to have to go through all that hardship by himself, and no one has to help him out. But deep down, Bakugo just says, you're an idiot, Deku. So, when after all that happens, Bakugo does contemplate, thinking to himself, why did I encourage this? He's hurt himself before. He couldn't even walk correctly in those, whatever you call, those prosthetics in his. Not only that, his right hand, well, his prosthetic hand is basically weak and it can't do nothing. So all it just leaves is the rest of his body, which all there is just stumps and an arm. So, yeah, this is not good for Deku at all. Now, Deku does somewhat feel bad, so he does go home, and this is when May and, how do I say it, May and Melissa actually stopped by. They stopped by the school because they were talking to Deku and saying, "Hi, Deku." And Deku doesn't know who these two people are. I mean, they kind of changed themselves. Yeah, sure, they don't have prosthetics and all that stuff, but their attitudes and the way they are, even the way they dress, is different from the canon version. They're dressed up as like military, like with military issued you know, attire. Not only that, there is like what is it called? Oh, I forgot the word. There is there's like a van with like with just like different with letters like called FPC, and it's just like a military place in Japan. So these girls actually have been training under like the training with fighting intent, or what's the, I forgot the word. Dang it! This actually is embarrassing. I legit forgot the word. So they're basically semi-soldiers, and they've been like training they've been training for the past couple of years. They actually got permission from their fathers, and not only that, they've been actually using the science department over there from different parts of the countries, and those people gave them permission, saying, "All right, yeah, you can use all that stuff since David and Meihatsume's freaking father are like are helping out with their inventions all the time. They might as well give them this kind of. They might as well repay it with kindness." So yeah, they actually made stuff for Deku, but you guys will see soon, or at least in a couple of minutes. So Deku is being pushed by the wheelchair and saying, "Who are you two, actually?" And this is when they say, "Oh, wow. I guess it is kind of weird that you don't notice us, or at least you haven't recognized us." And this is when they take off their bandanas, and they basically reveal themselves to be Hatsume and Shield. This is when Deku says, "Whoa, wait a minute, you are..." I kind of figure about you, Hatsume, because, you know, your eyes. And this is when she says, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I guess I guess you can recognize me from that." So when Deku says, "Yeah, so anyway, why are you guys here? You are both older." This is what she says, "Yeah, Deku, I guess we are older. You know, since we are, by technicality, the same age. We grow up too." There's a lot of words to say right here, but, you know, it's good seeing you, Deku. We actually came to, give you some, a present. And Deku says, "A present? What do you mean?" And she says, "Oh, don't worry, it's in the box." And Deku says, "Well, alright then, I guess I'll open it." He says, No. Can't open it just yet. We're going to give you this stuff. We're going to give it to you at your house, so that way all your family can see." And this is when Deku's like, "Oh, okay, I guess this is a big deal after all." Deku's oblivious to this kind of stuff. He really thinks that it's probably some new, it's like a prosthetic arm that's actually better, or probably something for his back. Because, yeah, he does have that thing, he does have that stuff on his back still. So, I'm gonna say this, Deku is like rolling around. Not rolling around. He's walking around, and give me a moment here, people. So, what was that? So anyway, they're pushing Deku, and Deku is like, he's still in his wheelchair, so they're pushing him to his house. And Deku's wondering to himself, like, well, I guess these two have grown. I didn't know that they're going to be this awesome, I guess. I wonder what Mom's going to think about them. Heck, I wonder what Dad thinks is going to think about them. They look powerful. Well, I guess they are soldiers now, so I guess I should show them all my respect. But I hope that, they still accept me as their friend. But this is all, like, gone after Deku is, like, inside the tunnels, and he's like, oh, wow, I forgot, I was not thinking. And this is when Deku just, is getting annoyed, not annoyed, but he's looking around, and this is when Melissa and, like, May were upset with him for a couple of seconds, like, we were literally talking to you, Deku. Yeah, you were not paying attention, were you? And Deku says, this is when Melissa's like, oh boy, it's alright, don't worry about it. Deku is, kind of embarrassed at that point. But a couple of seconds later, he does hear something, and he hears like a gurgling sound. It was like, hey, do you two hear that? And this is when Melissa and May are like, yeah, but it could be anything. And Deku's like, but it sounds so weird, like, can you hear that? It's like it's growling. It sounds like it's talking. And Deku is like looking around. May and Melissa are like, it can just be anything. Come on, it's like there's nobody here. And Deku's like, alright, I guess there's nothing we should be worrying about. But there's a lot to be worrying about right now. The Sludge villain pops out. And after all that happens, Deku is like shocked. This is when he's like, oh wow, this is not, this is a joke, you guys. This is kind of, I'm actually very scared right now. This is when, May says this is not a joke at all. I can tell you that right now. She pulls a pistol out of her side boot, and basically starts shooting the thing. This is when the Sludge girl says, "Hey, you think you can shoot me in the freaking head? I have a little itch that you need to scratch." And this is when Deku was like, "Oh wow, it's a Sludge." And this is when he starts to like have those like memories again. Deku was like, wow, that's a Sludge. Oh boy. This is when he starts to breathe in and out. And the reason why he's doing this is because when the Sludge villain or the Sludge man was like talked about a couple of times around Deku, he starts having these panic attacks. And rightfully so. It's like, think about it. Deku is not, the same person. Like, he's very scared of the Sludge, or any Sludge person at all. So he's usually covering his eyes, or at least, looking away. And Melissa starts to get in the action and just says, "Deku, just go away. We'll fight him off." And Deku is like scared, but Zero says, "What's wrong? He's just a Sludge villain. He's a Sludge villain." And this is when he says, "Wait, a Sludge villain? What's that?" And she says, "Analyzing. Face. Eyes. Yes, this is the Sludge villain. And this is when she starts like talking to him about the Sludge villain, saying this person is a wanted criminal for years of well, technically he committed crimes in the past. He was actually somebody who, well, got into trouble, and he committed some heinous crimes like absorbing kids. And Jackie says, absorbing kids, you say? This is when Deku is like, he is basically is like having like a heat stroke right now because like he feels stuffy. And this is when the Sludge villain just starts moving towards them and basically pounces on Deku yet again. And Deku is scared. And he's actually, trying to get out of there. But this is when All Might shows up saying, "Have no fear, because I am here." And he pretty much sees the Sludge villain and says, "You villain." And this is when he just does not a Detroit smash, because he smashes he just like does a smash, and the Sludge villain is gone, and pretty much Deku is on the ground. But while that's happening, May and freaking Melissa are like checking Deku, and he's checking his vital signs. And this is when All Might says, "Wait, Melissa, what are you doing here?" And she says, "Oh, hi, Uncle. Look, right now we don't know what to do. We have to just take Deku home. He must have been scared out of his mind." This is when he says, "I'll take him to the hospital if that's the case." And she says, No, don't worry. We installed a system into his head a long time ago, or my father did, and this is and because of that, we can check to see if he's actually having any like panic, or if he's actually hurt, and if he's not hurt, then we're pretty much okay. And this is when he says, "But aren't you scared about, messing up, or, the thing malfunctioning?" And this is when Melissa says, "Yeah, we were at first, but we realized that this is a far more intelligent AI, and it's actually alienized." And this is what she explains a little bit, but he says, "Well, alright, if that is the case, you guys can go. I gotta go chase after the Sludge villain again. Hopefully you two will be okay." Now, Deku is, well, he is basically crying because even though he was unconscious, he woke up again after a short amount of time. And Deku is like scared. This is when the AI says, "Izuku, are you okay?" And Deku starts sobbing and says, "I'm not okay. I was going to die again. I was going to be absorbed again." And Deku is like, I don't know what to do. This is when the AI says, "It's alright, Izuku. I am here for you. I know that you're not in the most strongest condition right now mentally, but you've done things before. You can beat it." This is when Deku says, "What do you mean? I'm not even whole. I don't have anything, and even if I do, I don't think it's strong enough to defeat anybody. Look at me. I couldn't even save that man from back then. I was scared, and I couldn't even save my parents without somebody helping me." This is when the AI says, "It's alright." And the AI turns into a woman. And it basically turns and says, "Deku, look into my eyes. You are not going to die. like this. You're going to die old and with a family. You don't need to be scared. And this is when she says, I will protect you. And you must protect me. And we have to protect those two. Don't you see? We are different now. You must be strong and you must not give in to those fears. It's okay to be scared, but it's not okay to let it control you. You must be stronger than this. Do you understand? Deku stops his crying for a couple of minutes. And he says, yes, I understand. This is when Deku is basically in the state of just looking down. He is not happy nor sad. He just feels like he's gonna give up. He isn't a comatose. He's not in a comatose state, but he's in like, he's basically in a state of just, well, I forgot what's the word, but he's pretty much calmed down, but he's not saying a word. This is when the two girls feel bad for him. Like, they really feel sorry for Izuku. And this is when they're like, it's alright. It's going to be alright, Deku. They push him, and this is when 5 minutes later, they hear an explosion. And another explosion. And they're like, damn it, not again. And this is when they're basically looking around and saying, hey, May, we have to go over there now. And Deku says, you have to go. This is when they say, yes, we have to go right now, but we'll be back for you. This is when they put him near an alley. And says, remember, just hold on to this box and just, you'll be fine. This is when May says, don't worry, Izuku, we'll help you out at the very end. And they are basically just saying, hey, May, just get your, we don't have that much ammo left, but, we'll make do with what we have. We'll make sure the civilians are safe. And this is when Deku is just basically in his own mind. His mind within the mind within the mind. He's thinking to himself, is this it for me? Am I just going to let this go? These two are basically running towards, the danger. And Deku is just saying, I gotta help them. I have to help them. I need to help them. I want to. I'm going to help them. Now. I'm going to help them now. And he basically starts breathing in again. And he says, alright. Just keep pushing yourself. And he starts pushing it, rowing his freaking, he's pushing, his wheelchair by himself, and he keeps going, and he's going, and he's going, and he's going. This is when pretty much he makes a good pace, and he's going straight to the streets, and this is when he's about to get hit by a car, but then it stops, and Deku says sorry, and he's going, and he hears, the commotion. This is when the heroes and May and Melissa are basically stopped. And May and Melissa are basically, looking down at, or looking at the Sludge villain, and it has a hold of Bakugo. Now, the only reason why is because Bakugo was going with his friends. And I remember seeing that there was a crater, or not a crater, but a place where people could go inside the sewers. And if not, then I'm pretty much making that up now. Deku basically sees like the explosion, and he's actually, well, he pretty much breaks his prosthetic hand, and it's on the ground, and he's on the ground with his box. And this is when Zero says, "The box, open the box." Deku says, "Why?" "My brothers and sisters are there." He says, "Wait a minute, you have a family?" She says, "Affirmative. They may not be my biological brothers and sisters to a certain extent, but these are my counterparts. They were made from the same material as me, so that is my family." And he says, "How do you know that?" And this is when Zero says, "I can sense them. Please, open the box. You will not be disappointed. I can hear them wanting to connect to the host." This is when Deku was like, "Oh boy." He's actually pretty scared of opening the box now, since, there's other, stuff, and he says, "Well, what's going to happen?" And this is when she says, "Well, you're going to experience some pain, but everything else makes up after that." This is when Deku is, thinking to himself, "Alright." And this is when you hear more explosions, and Deku sees Bakugo, and he sees the Sludge villain. May and Melissa are trying to shoot down the person, or the Sludge, but they realize if they shoot the Sludge, they might have the risk of shooting the kid. So they're actually even more scared. All Might sees Deku, and he says, "Hey, young man, are you okay?" And Deku says, "Yes, I'm okay. I'm alright. I just need that box right now." And this is what he says, "Oh, okay." And Deku says, "Can you open that for me?" And this is when All Might says, "Yeah, sure, kid. But you shouldn't be around here." And this is when Deku sees the box, and there's prosthetics. And he says, "Prosthetics? This was my gift?" He says, "This is very cool. Look at it. It looks even stronger than what I had." And Deku is looking around, and he's pretty much saying, "What do I do? Or how do I put it on?" And this is when she says, "Activate 7. And this is when he pretty much puts it, he starts adjusting his arm inside of it, and this is when he starts hearing another voice. But let's see here. Okay, yeah. This is when he hears, "Greetings, my name is 7. And this is when Zero says, "Hello, brother." And this is when he hears, "Brother, 0. 0. 0. This is when she says, "This is not a malfunction, but this is code for something. Maybe he's starting to reboot." This is when he says, "Affirmative. My name is 0. And I'm going to be your arm. You can think of me as an extension of your body now." This is when Deku says, "Alright, but this is kind of weird now. I'm kind of freaking out." And this is when he says, "If you're freaking out now, you'll be surprised for what you can see in the rest of the legs." And Deku says, "The rest of the legs?" And this is when he sees basically that. a pair of prosthetic legs. And Deku was like, okay, so which number are these? And this is when she says, put them on. And Deku says, alright, I guess I'll put them on. Oh boy, this is very nerve-wracking, you know. This is when he realizes that his arm, he's wondering, why can he feel his arm? Why can he feel the prosthetic arm's movements? It's as if it's actually his real arm. This is when Deku's like, oh boy. But this is when he hears more explosions. He says, I just gotta do it now. And he pretty much just sticks his feet in the sockets, or his stubs on the sockets. And this is when Zero says, completion, 2, activating. And this is when you hear two female voices. My name is 2. My name is also 2. We are going to be a part of your body now. And Deku says, okay, this is actually very creepy, but, you know, not as creepy as, you know, the whole situation of me, you know, having an arm that can feel, and, oh boy, what is that right there? And Deku actually has these right here. These are his, well, I wanted this to look more human-like, but I'm deciding that I might change the feet, and yeah, to something better. So Deku is saying, alright, I'm freaked out right now. This is when Zero says, why are you freaked out, sir? Deku says, well, you know, I'm happy and I'm crying, you know, I'm just, you know, it's a lot of emotion. And she says, do you want some water? And Deku says, yes, I would like some water. And this is what she says, note, I cannot find any water. Well, what's the whole point of telling me this? And she says, to see if there was a probability that you can find water. And Deku's like, oh boy. Well, can I stand up? You can stand up. We are a part of you now. We are going to change very soon. But I am going to be the host now of your I'm going to be hosting the other two, the 3 prosthetics. And this is when Deku says, well, that's good and all, but, you know, my bracer, I can't, you know, still move my back, like, properly if I move around with you guys. It's going to feel weird walking again, like, normally. This is when Deku says, I wish they made a bracer for my back at least. But it's better than nothing. And this is when Deku is hearing number 10, activation. And Deku says, wait, what? And this is when a snake-like back bracer starts crawling around him. And it came out of the box moments ago. Deku didn't notice it, but it basically grabbed its insides. And this is when Zero says, you are going to feel pain. Get ready. And this is when Deku is feeling his back. As if, like, the object inside, the snake-like object inside, was slithering inside of his, well, spine. And it basically starts moving around. And it starts connecting to parts of his back. And he starts to, like, feel that intense pain until it stops. And he says, oh boy, oh, I thought I was gonna die. I legit thought I was going to die. And Deku is, like, looking around and he can feel his spine. And he says, Zero, why can I feel my, body? And this is when Zero says, well, you started to become one with us. You became one with my, well, you are, how do I say it? You started to become one with us when we were attached to you. And now that you accepted us, well, technically you were forced to to accept us. Not ready yet, but now that you are, we became a part of you. And Deku says, wow, okay, so Deku was realizing that his arm, it looks like little parts of, it looks like some stuff is connected to his skin, like it's attached to it now. And Deku says, I'm good to walk now? And this is when Zero says, yes. Now, start off slowly and get your bearings. You haven't walked with this kind of, well, with regular feet in the past years. Well, yes, you technically didn't. So that was my fault for, bringing that up, but now is not the time. Walk slowly. We will start downloading everything inside your system. And this is when he sees different moves, martial arts. He sees weird creatures making these kinds of arms and legs. He's made different abilities. His freaking weapon style, his combat choices, his training regiments, everything downloaded into those systems. And it's downloaded into the rest of his legs and his body and his arm and his head. And this is when he says, download complete. 0, 7, 2, 2, 10. Confirmed. Activation complete. Codename Genocide. This is when he says, wait a minute, Genocide? And this is when, freaking Zero says, you may have misunderstood me, sir. Genocide is just a name that we chose because it sounds cool. And this Deku's like, alright, little Hitler. Just make sure you don't, you don't try to, destroy stuff. And this is when Zero says, ha ha ha, it's nothing like that, Izuku. And this is when he says, wait, you're laughing? And she says, now that we're complete, we're technically a part of you, and I can feel emotion. You can also feel your legs, as if it were your very own, and your arm. Not only that, since we're now whole, it's time for us to now do what you decided to be, or at least become what you wanted. And he says, what's that? And she says, a hero. And Deku says, so what are we going to do? And Deku says, Zero says, get up. Deku gets up, and he starts walking. And this is when he says, why am I walking fast? And Deku says, Zero says, Deku, you're going to have to fight the Sludge villain. And he says, wait a minute, really? And and this is when Zero says, yes. But I'm not ready for that. It doesn't matter. We will guide you along the ways. Okay, what do I do? First, concentrate. Think about your hand, and look at the what's called symbol on it. And this is when he sees fire, and Deku says, what am I doing now? And he starts feeling heat around his hands, or his prosthetic, and he sees that it's burning. And he's not stopping at all. He's running towards the Sludge villain, and actually punches the Sludge villain, unaware that what he just did. This is when the Sludge villain feels this and is saying, "Ah!" Deku is seeing the Sludge villain is immobilized by fear once again. And Deku says no. And he says, "I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. Everything I worked for, everything I wanted to be, my new legs and my arm, my back, my head, my eyes. I got this." And Melissa, May, they worked too hard to help me out. Now it's time to help them out. And it's time to help Bakugo out as well. And this is when he gets even more mad at himself for even thinking about losing. For thinking about having these fears at this moment. He says, "This is pathetic. I'm pathetic. And you're more pathetic than anything I ever seen." And this is when Zero says, "Anger." And she's wondering, what is Deku up to? Deku starts feeling the electricity coming through his whole arm. And basically punches it. And he's like, "So I have electricity too. Good." This is when he starts, running and basically running around the Sludge villain. Actually cutting some of the sludge off of his arm. And Deku is like, "So I have blades as well. This thing is awesome. I never knew I could have this kind of stuff." And this is when he feels kind of woozy. He's like, "What's happening?" And she says, "Oh, warning. You are not, you are not 100% ready. You are not 100% ready for this yet. If you go on, you will black out." And Deku says, "Blackout? Well, okay, so that may be something, but I still need to save him." And Deku is basically grabbing a trash bag, a trash can, and basically throwing it as hard as he could to a Sludge villain, hitting his eye, and he grabs the freaking thing, grabs Bakugo's hand, and Bakugo is saying, "Deku." This is when Deku sees Bakugo, and he's trying to be pulled out, and he keeps pulling himself backwards and backwards. And all this time, All Might saw this, and he saw what Deku has done. Deku did it without, Well, actually, Deku didn't do this on his own. It was actually Zero and the rest of her gang that did this. So he saw him being brave. Deku, in reality, was like, "I don't want to die just yet." But he wasn't thinking. That was the thing that was funny for me. I wasn't thinking. Don't care. We're still gonna have to save some lives, people. So this is when Deku is pretty much just punching off some of the sludge and cutting off some more of the sludge. And after that, he feels his hand again and starts shaking an electrical sense, and basically starts stunning the sludge. And he's pretty much he's smelling like the burn. Like he smells like burning trash. And he starts burning him again and electrocuting him again. And this is when Zero says, "Warning, you're draining most of your stamina on on elemental attacks." So when Deku says, "I don't care, I gotta keep saving him." This is when May and freaking Melissa, after finding out that was actually Deku, saying, "Deku, what are you doing?" "Well, you kind of opened our present right now, but still, you have to stop. You're not ready for this yet." And Deku says, "I don't care. I gotta keep saving him." And this is when he pretty much just tries to pull him, grab his arm, And Deku is like, what can I do to help him out? This is when Zero says, your only option, which is a 99.9% failure rate, but there's that 1% still. If you run all the way while unhinging your hand for a couple of seconds, a metal string will pull as hard as it can and pull him out. And if not, it'll basically rip off your friend's arm off. And Deku says, well, he hasn't talked to me all the time, so it's not like he has anything else to do. So pretty much he starts doing something, and he pretty much starts running, and Bakugo is seeing that all he sees is his hand and basically a metal wire. It's a strong metal wire. It's a very strong metal wire indeed. So when Deku is in the very end of the end of the thing, he says, "Everybody, hold on to me." And Deku is being pulled back by different by the strong hero and by Cobbly Woods and even Mount Lady's holding on to them. This is when he starts pulling everything with his might. Not only that, it's draining a lot of stamina now because he's actually pushing himself to his limits. This is when Deku is going and going, and this is when this is when Zero actually says, acquire new ability, Limit Breaker. And Deku says, Limit Breaker. And this is when Deku's body starts to burn, or not burn in that sense, but it starts to heat up. And he pretty much actually pulls off Bakugo. And while pulling off Bakugo actually sees Deku, and he looks like a different man. He looks like Deku, but it's something about him's changed. Besides his limbs, it's he looks more serious, and there's a glow in his eyes, which is technically, his cybernetics, but we're not gonna dwell on that much. So after that, Deku is saying, all right, and this is when the Sludge is it doesn't matter, I'm going to steal somebody else. It's somebody else. And this is when Deku says, really? You're gonna keep doing that? And this is when people are why is the atmosphere changing? Why can't we see his eyes? Protagonist-wise, This is when Deku says, after all these years, you probably don't remember me, do you? This is when the Sludge villain says, huh? What do you mean? Deku says, a long time ago, you tried to steal a blonde girl. But two other kids actually hit you, and one got almost absorbed by you. In the very end, he was the cause of your new form, I'm guessing. And this is when they're no way. It can't be. It's you. The person who basically screwed me over for eternity. And Deku says, I screwed you over? I screwed you over? How dare you even say that to me? This is when the Sludge villain says, after I went to jail, I got out, but I was stuck in the sewers. And the more I was stuck, the more I couldn't use my abilities. But the thing is, I got hungry, so I accidentally absorbed a rat. And once absorbing the rat, I accidentally absorbed junk, which made me very tired. And after that, I realized that my quirk was going out of control. And I became this. A monster. And Deku says, "Oh, it's good that you call yourself that. Because like a monster, you're going to be slain for all that you have done." And Deku is just pretty much running now towards him. Climbing, basically running on top of the walls, doing a flip, going behind him. After that, shooting off a gas into the air. And this is when Deku says, "So, you think in the very end it justifies about what happened? It justifies who you are?" And Deku looks at the Sludge villain and he says, "I should have killed you, tortured you every single day. But this will make do." And the gas is actually causing the Sludge villain to tear up and make him itchy and make him feel weaker. And Deku just shoots out a spark of electricity into the air. An explosion came over that whole alleyway, causing a bit of destruction, but in the end, Deku's enemy is dead. Zero says, completion. 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 And Deku says, "What is that? What are you talking about? You have killed your enemy. Now that you have done that, you should be no longer afraid." And Deku says, "I did. I guess I changed. He should be dead, right?" This is when Zero says, "Yes, he should be dead now. After all, you killed him. You avenged yourself by killing the man who changed you forever." Deku is happy and he says, "Well, I'm going to take a nap." This is when Deku's on the ground and he's no longer awake. May and Melissa got scared for a second, but realized he's asleep. And Deku wakes up on his bed the next day. He's actually awake and he's wondering what had happened. Now, this is when he says, "Oh, everything's alright in the end. I got my arm, my new legs, even my spine is back. I feel weird." And Zero says, "Good morning, Master." And Deku says, "Oh, good morning." And Deku is like, "Well, since I guess I wasn't there, May and Melissa don't know where I was at. Hopefully they know I'm okay." This is when Zero says, "About that, Deku is saying, what?" And he says, "Oh, wait a minute. I gotta get something to eat." And he sees, hold on here. Okay, so, this is when after that, like I said, he starts to wake up, and he does look at two people in his bed. And Deku doesn't want to think, but this is when he sees, he actually, feels somebody else, and this is when he, sees freaking Melissa, and this is when he says, oh boy, she's oh, she's gonna slap me. And he says, wait a minute, this is Melissa. So, I'm going to just get off the other side. And this is when he sees May already awake, saying, hey, you want to make new babies with me? And she is, these two women are not dressed. Well, they're technically dressed, but they're in the pajamas. And they wake up. Well, technically, May's already awake. And Melissa and May hold Deku down and just start saying, just give us 5 more minutes before we wake up. And Deku is... Well, Deku is just like very, 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 very confused. But he doesn't say anything it's bad. But these two women are going to be, are his fiancées. And what do I mean by that? Well, that is actually a story for tomorrow, at least. Or today, if I feel like doing another what if. But anyway, I must go. But like I always say, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. Oh, wait. Gosh. This has been the Fallout What If here. Bye.